Hi, this is Erica Norton, and I'm the founder of Perfect Legal Video. I'm very excited to have with us today Attorney Nicole Reeves Lavallee. She owns a family and real estate law firm in the Worcester area, and we are very fortunate to have her with us each and every week, giving great legal advice on topics that matter. So, thank you so much for coming today, Nicole.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. So, today we are going to talk about why what clients don't know can hurt them. And, consequently, like why you should listen to your lawyer. That's the other name of this topic, right, Nicole?
It really is. It's one of those things that's very frustrating to me as an attorney because I'm like, you're paying me a lot of money. You should listen to me.
Well, I mean, and you know what you have really working against you, and I can speak from experience because I too was one of those clients that was like, "Really, Nicole? That's what's going to happen? No, that would never happen." And then 6 months later, I'm like, "This happened, that happened, the other thing happened. How did you know?"
20 plus years of experience.
So usually when we bring up these topics, like a lot of times it's because something happened this week, and it's a good time for me to be a sounding board and for other people's to learn from your other clients' mistakes. So what are some of the things we want to talk about this week that have to do with just really listening to your attorney and like the things that you don't know that can hurt you in court?
I think, we think we're really good at giving you information. We try to give you tidbits, we try to give you handouts and information that says, where the court is, where you should park, when you should be there, where you should be in the courthouse, what you should dress like, what you should say or don't say, what documents you should bring. So we try to give you all of those resources. And I would say, realistically, any good attorney should be giving you that information so that you can be prepared. Because if this is your first time, you're going into court and you're like, oh my God, what do I say? And the answer should be your name, and that's about it. And you really shouldn't have to say more than that. But again, you need to be that preparedness on your end because what if the attorney is going from one court to another and forgot one crucial document? You want to have yourself prepared for what's going to happen. Or worse yet, they get caught with a flat and they're going to be late for court. How do you address it? So I think you really need to focus on what is your attorney giving you in advance to prepare and read those resources or utilize those resources as best as you can is a great starting point.
And always open your mail from your attorney.
It's amazing that we have to tell you that, but yes, open your mail, open your email, read your text, everything that comes from the attorney, you should be looking at.
Answer the phone. I mean, you would think that these would be givens, but sometimes people, don't get to that. They don't listen to their voicemail. Maybe texting is the best way, but a lot of attorneys are not going to text you. So, they don't want you texting them on their personal line when they're trying to shut down for the night and everyone's freaking out. So, definitely that's one way to avoid a lot of catastrophes is to just keep those lines of communication open and make sure that you take into consideration and definitely ask questions before you get to court. Am I right?
Yes, I mean, it depends on what kind of case you have, because sometimes we're just sitting there and we're chilling and we're waiting. And then there's other times that we're the first case called, and so you don't get that opportunity. So you really want to at least understand what's going to happen, and see if you have that time. You usually can say, "Hey, Nicole, how's court going to go?" And I'm going to go, "Oh, well, this attorney won't get on the bench. It says 8:30. We won't even get there until 9 o'clock. The other attorney's not going to show up till then. Don't worry, don't stress. We've got that half hour so that we can chat." And then there's other times that I'm going to be, look, the other attorney already talked to me, said they has to be out of the courthouse by 9:30. We're going to be the first case called. We have to be prepared. that means we need to talk in advance. So again, have that conversation so that you know what is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. I feel like your preparation for court is very necessary and should absolutely be paid attention to. And the other thing is, this isn't like the movies. So you're not going to go in there and just get your way or you walk. I mean, you have to be prepared to get into some down and dirty negotiations. And what's really hard for people to let go of is, number one, they're not going to get their way. They think they hired an attorney, now they're just going to get their way. And I think number two, it's really hard not to respond to some of the ugly things that you hear being said about yourself. And many of the things may even be lies, and you cannot say anything. You have to wait for your attorney to handle it. That's why you hired them. I mean, would you agree that a lot of people find those two things to be like utterly shocking, that it's not going to happen their way and that they can't just say whatever they want when they want?
And definitely on the first one, I think my clients come in with the expectation that they know to what they're going to get and what they're not going to get. I had somebody in a couple days ago that said flat out, I don't want him to have any parenting time. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. Short of your child being adopted by somebody else, he has rights. He might have supervised parenting time. He may get an hour or a week or a month or whatever, but he's going to get something. So I do set those realistic expectations. Whether you hear me or not is a different story, but I always try to set those realistic expectations so that you know that going in there that I'm not going to win and I'm not going to get everything I want, but I'm going to win this and might lose this, or, it might be a draw in something. So hopefully you're not coming in with unrealistic expectations. The second one of what people are say and don't say, yeah, that's one of those things that there's a reason why the attorneys go separately and talk. We don't talk in front of you because, one, what they're saying may not matter at all. If it's going to matter, I'm going to come back to you and go, Erica, I was just told blah, blah, blah. Tell me about it. And you're going to have to tell me a good story because I need to come and spin this however I can. Or I'm going to go, yep, my client already told me about that in the back of my head, never giving out what I'm actually saying, and just go, okay, great. So now I already know what the other attorney's game plan is. All too often when clients come in on that meeting with the attorneys, they want to chime in. Well, I want to gather intel. My point is to gather intel. So let the other attorney tell me what their side is going to be, what their position is going to look like. That's what I'm doing. So sometimes it is ugly stuff, and I will question you on the ugly stuff, and we will have a conversation about it. But we're also going to come up with creative ways to come up with a solution.
How does this translate into a lot of times when the court says you have to do mediation first, and now you don't have that time to go off in the corner? I mean, I guess you do, but mostly you're all sitting at the table and it's like just super uncomfortable. And and especially since it's early on, there's probably a lot of unresolved feelings going on between your client and the opposition. I mean, what how do you handle that?
As an attorney, I'm very subtle. I put my hand on your hand. Hold on. It's okay. We'll get to it. We'll never get to it, by the way. We'll get to it outside. That's my way of telling you to shut up. Or I'll give you like a little nudge underneath the table and go, stop it. So there's ways. And obviously, as we're walking, and I'll say, don't say anything, but half my clients listen to me on that. So really, again, it's about gathering intel. It's about giving it. And sometimes I look at it and go, well, that means I think this is a good deal. Take it. So again, it kind of follows the lead of the attorney. That's what I'm always going to say, is follow the lead of your attorney. If the attorney wants you to talk, we'll ask you. If the judge wants you to talk, they'll ask you. But you have to remember that I am the board that's going to speak for you. So let me do my job. When you interrupt or you get hostile or emotional or all those things that are probably legitimate, great, but they're not going to solve the problem. My goal is to solve the problem, and I'm going to continue to remain neutral.
And that's why we hire you. But people don't always understand that. Like there's a list. What is the list of reasons why people hire an attorney? I know we've talked about a couple of them. I mean, really just having a professional speak for you and know what's going on. But I'll let you like talk about some of the things that you feel are the most important things that attorneys can do for a client and why the client should just step back and let them do it.
Obviously, the most important one is great. Did you go to law school for 3 years? And I'm not trying to be condescending, but do you know the legal terms? Because I can tell you this week alone, I got 3 AI generated nonsense things. One of them was a purchase and sale agreement. And the guy actually came to me and said, "Can you edit this?" I go, "No, I can throw it in the trash." Um, sure, it had the points that was necessary. It had absolutely nothing to protect him. From my perspective, we need to start completely over, start from scratch and do it right. So again, I think those are kind of the big things that people miss, that AI is great. ChatGPT is going to do this for me. Oh, I know this. I'm going to be smarter and I'm going to tell it more intelligent questions. But you don't know what the questions are. And say, for example, you do. Okay, you know what a tort is. Congratulations. You know what the elements are. Congratulations. How do you apply them to your particular facts? Oh, I'm supposed to do that. And so people don't know that stuff, and AI is not going to tell you that. So really stop relying on computers. Rely on people that are educated, that went to school for this, not a computer that's supposed to be gathering all the intel. So that's first and foremost. But I think those are the big issues that people, look at, and they get emotional. They get upset over, I don't want to say things that are silly, but things that in the big picture they need to look at. What is this extra hour of time going to do in the long run? Oh, do you know how much money you're spending on an extra hour of time with me fighting about this? Or well, fighting over $5. What are we doing, guys? So again, you always have to look at that big picture.
I mean, I think that's so important. And you have to remember that when you're going through something like a divorce, uh, or even a real estate negotiation that isn't going well, or somehow it's connected to somebody's estate that just passed away, and you're fighting with family members, like all of that, you're in the middle of like probably one of the more emotional times in your life. Not only is it an emotional time, but it's also on a topic that you've never been through before. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's scary. And, you only have like TV and what happened to your neighbor or, hearsay really to rely on for facts. Why not listen to the person that does this every single day? I mean, if you've never tied your shoe before and you're just gonna like try to figure it out, that but you're not gonna be the expert in one day, that is for sure. And not even when it comes to the law. It takes, how many years did you go to school for?
3 years of law school, in addition to 4 years of undergrad.
That's a long time. You can't expect, you don't have the kind of runway that the lawyer has built for themselves over the years. So you don't even try. It's totally an expensive thing to do. Like you said, people spend a lot of time using you also as their therapist. We should talk about this. It is way cheaper to hire a therapist than to go through everything. Your lawyer can hear it once just so that they have the background, but they don't need to hear it over and over again like they're your best friend.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, the best time for me, other than maybe the first time of getting the whole story, is when we're sitting there and we're waiting for our case to be called. That's if you want to do it, then fine by all means, because I'm still charging you and I can still get information and I can still help you with your case and obviously maybe some of the issues. Otherwise, health insurance covers this. So they're a more appropriate person. Yes, I can come up with solutions, but I can't necessarily tell you what your best coping mechanism is. That's not my field of expertise.
Although I bet you feel sometimes like it is.
It could be, but again, everyone's going to be different on that, and a real expert's going to be able to give you lots of options.
It's true. And sometimes there are things that happen way in the past. So, your job is really to just help them get through what's happening right now, get through it unscathed and as smoothly as possible. And, I know that you have a lot of empathy for people, and that is very helpful, but you're also really good at politely getting people back on track and understanding the process that needs to happen right now and what comes next and the questions that need to be answered and maybe the documents that need to happen. um, I think that you and your team are fantastic with that, and you hear from the team if you don't have the documents in on time, for sure.
Well, yeah, and again, that's because I'm doing everything I can to protect you. I'm not doing this to be a pain in the butt. I'm really not. I'm doing this because I know that there's consequences. I just had a client the other day and the judge literally wouldn't let me say two words. Why? Because my client didn't make an effort. The judge knew she didn't make an effort, and it didn't matter what I said because basically she was defying a court order, and the judge was like, "That's my court order. You're defying me. How dare you?" And it went south really fast because, again, the judge wants to see that at least you're making an effort.
I mean, I think that's wonderful because, that's why you're there. You need to make sure that you are paying attention to what the judge wants at that moment because they too can be in a different kind of mood on different days. And you don't want to step on their toes if they're not having a good day. That's just going to equal your client not doing well in court that day either. I mean, it's not like they don't follow the rules, but certainly you have to act right and be able to read the room, which a lot of people can't, and that's surprising.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, and it goes down to everything, every detail. You come in and you look haphazard. You look like you just woke up. You look like you don't care about the court. Those are all things that are going to matter to the court. Like, respect me. I'm the one in charge here. And again, I don't think that they're really, for the most part, pompous. But sometimes they have that mood and they're like, you disrespect me, screw you. And you will take the brunt of it. So, again, it's anything you can do to help your cause and help your case, the better off you are.
The thing that I love the most about you and your team is that really everything's above board. I mean, a lot of times attorneys are portrayed as untrustworthy or just trying to screw the other guy over. I mean, can I even say that? But that is absolutely not what you're about. You want the best for your client, but not if it means that you're doing something underhanded or you know it is surprising that the stuff does happen in court where attorneys have a lot of little tricks. If that's who they are, they'll give you the giant pile of documents that you requested, they'll give it to you 6 months late, and then they'll throw it up in the air and put the pile back together so it's all out of order, and then you have to pay extra or you have to sit there for hours yourself putting things together. I mean, it's unbelievable that that stuff actually does happen, but not at your office. And I feel like the judges really appreciate that you're not playing those kind of games, and the other side is not going to accuse you of playing those kind of games unless they are, and that is another tactic on their side, because really you're not playing those games. You're just trying to do the best for your client by the book.
Absolutely. And I think that, it does go to your reputation. I mean, the reality is there are attorneys known out there that drag cases on and drag cases on and refuse to settle. And the judges know who they are. And then they know the people that are really trying to either genuinely help their clients out as best they can. And maybe I think we all try to get the best for our client, and we certainly try to shed them in the best light possible. But the reality is, I work too hard for my license. So I'm not going to do something that's going to put my license or my firm in jeopardy because we want to win. Of course, we want to win, but we're going to do it above board because ethics to me matters, and it should matter to everyone else. And the reality is, in these family law cases, guess what? If you're not ethical, it's going to show to your children.
Yeah, that does trickle back down to them, for sure. And you want to make sure that, I mean, it's definitely hard sometimes when you're going through something that's really difficult to keep things away from the kids. Um, it's really good. No one's perfect, but it's really good if you're not also that person that is not playing by the rules and doing things under, and like teaching them that. You want to raise good humans, and the best way to do that is by living by example.
Absolutely.
So we've gone through some of the things today. I don't want to miss any specific examples, though, on what we can do, what we need to know, uh, that our attorney is going to tell us, and what we need to listen to. Is there anything that we missed today?
I think big picture, you always need to listen to your attorney when they're telling you why this is the possible outcome or what I think is in your best interest. Again, we're not doing it to run up bills for the most part. Again, that's not certainly not me, but we're doing it because we know what happens. We know what the next step is. We know what the cost analysis is. So again, with that an hour a week that we're talking about, I'm looking at going, okay, but you're going to spend $20,000 at trial for us to fight over that because the whole deal's going to blow up. Now, if the whole deal's not going to blow up and we're going to settle that one or let the judge decide that one issue, great. But some deals blow up over that little amount of time. So again, we have to do that cost analysis. We tell you what the cost analysis is, and you guys need to listen to us. Um, we need to listen to us when I tell you this person is not your friend, but they are, Nicole. No, they're not. I can't tell you how many times people are like, well, it's my ex or somebody else is suing me, but they keep telling me that they're not really trying to screw you. Listen to me. If they weren't trying to screw you, we would be settling this case. If we're going to trial, they are doing everything in their power to win. They are not your friend, they are your enemy. And it's really hard for people that are so trustworthy. And I get it and I appreciate that. But listen to what the attorney is saying because we really know, we see everything, we see the documents. And when we say, hey, look, I really think you should do or you shouldn't do something, let us do our jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I can't agree enough with you. Even if something seems like it might not be quite right because it's not what you thought you were going to experience, you got to go with the person that does it every day. And if it's an attorney that you trust, then you should be able to expect that they're going to go by the book. They're not going to be saying to you, "Hey, we're going to do X, Y, and Z just to throw them off." If someone says that to you, get another attorney, because that's not going to help you in court, because everybody knows what they're doing. And it doesn't hold well with the opposition, doesn't hold well with the judge, and inevitably you're not going to get as good of a result as you're looking for if you are working with someone that is like that. And this is when I would say, absolutely, if you're in the Worcester area or somewhere nearby in Massachusetts and you can get her, you would be absolutely lucky to have Nicole Reeves Lavallee and her team, just representing you in court, because they're fantastic. You can take it from me. I've worked with them. I've spoken with many of her clients, and you just can't get a better person to represent you in court.
Thank you so much for all that.
Well, you're welcome, and it's absolutely true. So I don't mind saying it. I'm not being paid. It's my experience, and I mean, what I'm really happy about is that I found you, and the one of the surprising things for me is that even after you go through the very long process of a divorce, that things just keep coming up after the divorce is final, and even years later, if you have kids anyway, you might still be dealing with things in court, and to have someone that can continually support you, know what they're doing, do everything above board, and talk you down, because sometimes you don't get what you want, you don't get anywhere near what you want, um, just because the laws changed, and it just was against you, it was for your opposition. I mean, you can't you don't have a crystal ball. You can't always tell what's going to happen in the future, but having Nicole is pretty close to having the crystal ball. So definitely hire her if you can. So thanks again for coming on the show today, Nicole. We really appreciate your making the time to do this.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, everyone, for watching. Tune in next week when we have more fantastic information on either family law or real estate. And we will look forward to talking to you then. Have a great day.